Today I'm introduced with bus driver for Watford FC, Bazzlar. I wanted to welcome you to the show. And how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
It's an interesting one, this, because often I talk to footballers and coaches and physios and people that are really connected with a club. And you're very connected with a club in a different way. You take the players from A to B, away and home. And I wanted to ask you, how do you do that? You must have quite a busy schedule.
Um, when we start, I leave, pick them up for if it's a home game. Recently this season, it's pick them up at Vicarage Road, take them to whatever hotel they're staying at. I don't know that hotel until I get to Vicarage Road, and then we take them there. We stay overnight, and then the next day, whatever time the game is, if it's a 12 o'clock kickoff, we'll be at the ground at 10:30. For a 3 o'clock kickoff, it will be no later than 1:30. They start panicking if we're later than 1:30, and then wait around. I go away. I take the coach down if it's a home game down towards Rickmansworth and park up down there with the other away coach, and then we get brought back up about 40 minutes after the final whistle. Then take them back either to the hotel or back to the training ground.
I went down to Vicarage Road a few weeks ago, and I was waiting for the players after the game, and the coach came down. It wasn't your coach; it was the away coach. But
Yeah.
when the games are going on, home or away, do you get to watch them, or do you have to wait in the bus?
No. If I want to go and watch, I can go and watch. I've given a ticket if I want one. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. If it's a home game, because we park so far away, it can take a good 45, 50 minutes to walk back up to Vicarage Road. And a lot of the times I don't come up because it's too far to walk, and I'd have to leave at half time to go back to the coach to bring it back up for the players. It's like if it's a night game, like we've got, is it Tuesday? I think we're playing Norwich on Tuesday. They will leave. We'll probably leave there about 11:30. So I'll stay with the team and bring them back to the training ground at 11:30 after the game's finished. So both coaches will go down.
How did you get into the role then of being the VIP bus driver in the company itself? But more specifically, you've driven teams like Queen's Park Rangers and Luton and now Watford.
Yeah. When I first started back in 2012, my first team, I did Queen's Park Rangers and Brentford. They sort of 1 week one, 1 week the other. That's how I first started doing it back in 2012. The contract ran out with Brentford and Queen's Park Rangers, and I was offered to do Watford when they first came back to the Premiership. Is it 2014-15? I'm not exactly sure. Is it 14-15 or 15-16 when Quique Sanchez first came to the club? And I've been there now. I think this is my 10th season. Going into my 10th season.
There must be a lot of dynamic changes with the team. I mean, we've spoken about how many managers have gone through the team, and I'll have the figure with me in a moment. Does it differ with club to club, or is it just sort of a thing that you get used to after a few games?
What, with different managers?
And the team, what's it like to be with the team?
It's brilliant. They're so funny. Some of them, as you know, I got on famously with Ben Foster when he had his GoPro going around in the coach, the hotel, in the back of his goal. He caught me one day in the gym. That's how it all started. It was at Rotherham. I think it was during COVID when we just came back, and we was at Rotherham, and I was in the gym just for something to do during the day, and he come wandering around with his camera and put it on one of his cycling GKs thing, and that's how it all started. And I'm now, there's followers follow me all the time. I'm somehow what ground I go to, people know who I am. So it's good. It's good. All the players there are fantastic. I've had a great rapport with all of them.
I'm sure I speak for a lot of people here when I say that Ben Foster got us through lockdown. I mean, every week there was going to be there was a game, and it would come onto YouTube the next day.
Yeah.
And that got me through lockdown because it just brought back football, such a personal touch to the game. But he did
Yeah.
get in trouble for that. He got a few things when they went up to the Premier League. He wasn't allowed to do things like that. But in the lockdown season specifically, that brings back a lot of nostalgia for people like myself. What was that like? There must have been a bit of a different vibe, a different thing that you could have not done.
Yeah, it was when he first done it. I've never known it to be done before. Like, it's such a unique thing to do that he brought, as you said, he brought football back into the homes during lockdown. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Didn't he do a training session with them on a bike as well with all the players, and started doing things like that, which is great. It gets the fans inside the club to watch them what they're doing. And he was always he's never known the man to be unhappy. He's always smiling, always happy, always bubbly. And I think that goes a long way with how the fans see him.
Do they come hard in football?
Sorry?
Do those kind of people come quite hard in football to get those people that are always ready to go?
No, I don't think so. You get some really hard players that just straight on. I could mention a few, but I won't. That was really hard work when I first started at Watford. There were some few hard players there. You had to beck and call. You could put this here, put that there, do this, do that. And I've been there a long time now. I don't think they would do that to me now.
But what do you mean by that? Do you have time to spend with the players, or was it just one of those where Ben just caught you off guard?
No, you spend a lot of time with them. If you're in the hotel of a night time, or if you're doing you're there on say we've got a Wednesday night game, we'll get to the hotel Tuesday. So you'll have a lot of Wednesday. Like you will always eat with the players or in the same restaurant. You'll have breakfast with them. You can socialise with them. Like they're playing video games or they're playing pool or table tennis. You can just sit there and they just talk to you like you're just one of them. It's just they don't. Oh, you're just the coach driver. They just ignore you. Watford, they don't. To be quite true for the teams I've done, they do not ignore you. You're just part of the team. So you're always involved in with them. They're not just you got to go over there, and you're not part of it. They make you welcome, all of them. Even the managers will make you welcome to the team.
Watford are known to constantly like to go through managers, 16 since 2015. And you've had to deal with a lot of those different managers from different nationalities, from places around the world. Is that easy to get used to? Or because the team around are so used to having you, it just feels like normal?
It's some of them, I think there was a couple early on, you couldn't communicate with them because they couldn't speak English. I couldn't speak Italian or Spanish or whatever they were. But a lot of them, they will talk to you, ask how you are, how's your family, everything going good, any problems. As good as I think one was the one I couldn't understand was it Walter Mazzari. I think he was the one that couldn't really speak a lot of English. You were doing interpretation with someone else. So he would talk to someone else would talk to you, and that was probably all the others were as good as gold, all of them.
You've done it for quite a long time now with all the clubs, but let's base it off Watford. There must have been some big teams that you faced, like you've gone to Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United. But what have you been the most impressed by? What team?
Believe it or not, the best club I've gone to is Leicester City. Leicester City is probably about the best one. Friendly, they can't do enough for you. See, like a lot of the times, I will take the kit to the ground on my own, like on the night before, and all their guards, all their staff will help you unload the coats, put it into the dressing room, make sure everything's okay, anything you want. And then you can go to the likes of Manchester City, for instance. Don't want to know. Oh, it goes over there. You just got to get it. And it's a long walk. You've got the amount of equipment they take to go to Man City. It can take a good 2 to 3 hours to just unload the coach. And I'm on my own doing that. So you can go, where else is good? Where else is bad? Chelsea's fine. Arsenal's fine. Man United's fine. Newcastle can be hard work. That's you've got to go up downstairs. Sunderland this year, another one, very hard going, because you've got where you have to take it. You just like to go down 3 floors of stairs, walk 50 yards, and then come back up again, because you can only take 1 to 2 skips in at a time. Then you've got the television that has to go down, and it can take a long, long time. And some of the clubs help, for some of them don't want to know it's down there. So,
There must have been some memorable games that you must have gone to, but I'm talking about the travel, because there's been times where we saw on Ben Foster's YouTube channel that they've taken the plane up north, but he mentioned that you had to drive the coach up north.
Yeah.
Is that a normal thing for you?
Yeah. If they're flying, say the guys are flying, say they're flying to Manchester, I will get to the training ground 6 o'clock in the morning, load the coach up. Matt, the kit man, it's already there waiting, so I know where it is, where it's all stored. So I just go in, pull it all out, load the coach up. Chef comes along, puts all his food and all that on. By sort of 8 o'clock, I'm out of the training ground, and I normally, if I get time, I will normally go. So we're going to Old Trafford, I will go straight to Old Trafford, and I will get rid of all the kit. All the kit will be in Old Trafford. Then I will go back to Manchester Airport, pick the team up, take them to the hotel, and then go from the hotel back to Old Trafford with the kit man and whatever equipment they bring up on the plane or on the train. Sometimes they go by train.
But that must be quite challenging, right? Or is that not even the most challenging thing of the job?
The hardest part of the job is when after the game they've got the flight to catch. And then you've got, say we leave Manchester at say 6 o'clock. Their flight may be 7 o'clock. I've got to get from Old Trafford back to Manchester Airport in 45 minutes, and you try and get out of some of these grounds that quick. It's can say right. The plane will wait for them, but they won't wait all night. Like an hour, they need to be gone by 7 o'clock. Flight gone. And then you've got 3.5 hour drive back to the training ground, and then I have to unload it all on my own because everyone's gone. It could be 11, 12 o'clock at night by the time I get back, and then I have to unload it. That can take an hour. But then I've got to take all the catering stuff off. That has to go to another part of the training ground, and then I have an hour and a half drive back from Vicarage Road, from the training ground back to our place in Gillingham, and then I've got to clean the coach. So sometimes I can come back, not get home till 5, 6 o'clock in the morning.
There must be a nice thing about the job, the home games. If you have a back-to-back home game, that must be quite nice to maybe chill out a bit more and have more relaxation. But you can tell us about that. However, that must be quite nice, but then you have got to still do your job. And the job is challenging, regardless of home or away. But is there more of a lenience on a home game?
The home games, you have not got no kit. The kit's already there because it's already at Vicarage Road. That's the easy bit. Home games are quite relaxing. You've still got to be there and make sure they're there on time. So where leaves, it all depends what hotel we're staying at. It's normally 45 minutes. It will take, we'll leave 45 minutes to get. We have to be there. Anything between 25 past and 25 to 2, no later. We can't be there. And then you get it. They're giving you in the neck. If you're stuck in traffic, then they're going to start. How long? We're going to be there. What's the problem? And then that puts you more under pressure. It's like once they put you under pressure, you can make mistakes. I've already done that a couple of seasons ago at Aston Villa when I was being given pressure to get going. I missed the turning. We ended up 40 minutes late. So, and I do get reminded by the players. Oh, don't get lost. That happens. You get a lot of ribbing from them.
There must be quite a close interaction with the club. I mean, I felt it when I've been there, and for yourself to be introduced by Ben Foster, and although he's gone now, I think the passion and the chemistry of the fans to the players has really still remained, and you've been a big part of that. I mean, I remember going to Vicarage Road and people are waiting to see you on the coach. Does that play an impact in the team, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. As you know, if you're at Vicarage Road, it's not the easiest place to get into. If you've got a big crowd there, you've got to come up and you've got to reverse down Occupational Road. That can be daunting, especially if it's especially when it was in the Premiership, when you've got 23,000 fans all gathering up on top of on Vicarage Road, and you've got to try and put the coach down there. That can be daunting. Making sure you don't try and run anyone over, which I know certain clubs, certain drivers from other clubs have come close to running people over because they're not used to going down there.
Is Vicarage Road a hard place to go? Because you've seen it a lot more than I have. When the big teams go there, we saw Liverpool lose 3-0 a few years ago.
Yeah. The atmosphere after the game is fantastic. If you go against Man United, they won. Liverpool, they won when Liverpool, I think, were going for a record undefeated run, and they lost at Vicarage Road. Afterwards, when you go down there, you're so pumped up. You're like twice the size you are. Look what we've just beaten Liverpool, or we've beaten Manchester United. It is a buzz. It is really, really, really a good feeling. Great feeling. And when you drive in to these, like when you've got Liverpool and all that, you're going down, you feel really massive. You feel really, really proud to drive Watford or whoever. It could be any team. It's very good. It is. It's really, really good. Like you can go to somewhere like Wembley, or you'll go to Woking like we did in the FA Cup. That is, you still feel so proud to take those boys to those games.
When Watford got promoted a few years ago with Cisco getting them up for the first time in asking, I believe it was, the celebrations in that must have been absolutely mental, and they would have come on your coach after the games. Do you remember some of those moments from when you got promoted?
Yes, it's against the team I follow, Millwall, wasn't it? Actually they never came back on the coach. I think they went into Watford itself that night. But it was in the dressing on the pitch after the game, in the dressing room after the game. It was. The last Vicarage Road.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when we the atmosphere in the dressing room after the game and on the pitch was absolutely fantastic. It was just a shame that the fans couldn't celebrate with them. I know the fans were at the top of the road because the players went up there to celebrate with them. And then they had a function, or they came back to the dressing room and had carried on celebrating there. But I believe the players and the staff went into Watford that evening to celebrate with the fans. But then I wasn't there. I had to go, so I had to take the coach back to Kent, so I couldn't celebrate with them on that one.
You mentioned your love for golf to me, and we know that there are a lot of footballers who like golf. Aaron Ramsdale, Ben Foster, the goalkeepers like the golf.
Yeah.
Do you ever get time to play with the players or the staff outside of the job?
I played with Ben Foster on Choose. I remember Choose from Sky Sports. We done a video up at the Belfry. We played with them. It must have been a good year ago. So yeah, I played with only with Ben. I've not played with any of the other players. I have been invited to play, but because work commitments, so I've not had a chance to play with anymore.
If you would rate Watford's atmosphere, is it above the rest? Is it above a lot of teams in terms of how close the fans are to the club?
Yes, I think very, very, very close with. There's a sort of close knit. Because it's a more of it's an enclosed ground. The fans are close to the pitch. I think you get there's a lot of strong bond between the players and the fans. Yes, definitely.
Some of the lads then that go with you on the game, and you may see them in training. I've often been asked if there's any myths in football. Could you ever tell us if there's a common myth or conspiracy that people have ever thought about? Could you now blank it off?
I don't see them when they're training. I only see them when they're on the coach or out just as they're getting on the coach. I think they're fine. I don't know if there's any problems inside the club. I wouldn't know. I've never seen anything like that.
When the team comes off, when maybe they've lost a game that they should have won, or they've dropped points back to back, is there a different mood on the coach? Do you feel it? Is there some arrogance by some players?
I wouldn't say there's arrogance. It's very quiet. If they come off and they've lost, you don't really say a lot to them. You just let them get on the coach, let them do their own thing. You don't go up to say, "Oh, well, you should have won this one, or you should have won that one." There is a protocol really that you wouldn't want to speak to them. Wouldn't like to know what they would say if you went up to them and said that sort of thing. "Oh, you should have done this, you should have done that." I think you would have got a swift of their tongue, I think, if you say that. It's professionalism. I've done it for a long time now. You know when to and when not to speak to the players.
When you first started off as a bus driver for these teams that you've mentioned, did you make any mistakes, whether it was communicating with them, or did you just get on with the job the same you do today?
No, I still do. Same then when I first started, it's the same as now. I do my homework. I know what I've got to do. I know where to go, where to pick them up. If I don't, then I will go out and do what I've got to do the day before. If I'm up there and I've not been to a ground before, I will go out. I will go out in the evening. If I walk there or take the coach there, I will go and plan the route. I will go and drive the route. So when we come out, we're straight there. So there's no mistakes. Can't afford to make mistakes. Not when you're on a tight schedule getting into a ground.
We spoke a moment ago about Watford's fans, and I've heard them before. They're very loud, but sometimes it can be quite hollow and quiet. And you've driven the rivals Luton Town on maybe a year's basis or something. And Kenilworth Road is known for its amazing atmosphere and being so close to the pitch. Can that compare with Watford?
I think both sets of fans are very passionate. Very passionate. I think Watford are probably more passionate than probably Luton. I've only done Luton once, and that was only when I had the playoff final last year. But I would imagine Watford fans probably the most passionate fans I've worked for.
But when you took Luton to the playoff final last year, a big occasion, and obviously they got promoted to the Premier League in the end. Before the game, was there more nerves than you've ever seen before?
No, I don't think so. See, not because I've not done them before. I wouldn't know what the setup was. I always went as a second driver. So the other driver who does them normally, he was doing all the bits and pieces. I just sat in the background and just watched it. He got on great with the players. He'd play darts and Paul with them. I just sat back. Like being a Watford driver, I don't really want to be here, like, but it was a job I had to do, and it was me that done it.
The 16 managers that have come in, you probably couldn't name them all. I certainly couldn't name them all.
No.
When they come into the team, there must be a new, maybe a thinking of, this is a new era. This is a new start for Watford. But we all know what ends up to happen. A lot of them do not even make it past 6 months.
Yeah.
This must be something that you've gotten used to, which we spoke about before. But there must be a change in atmosphere, whether it be certain players aren't in the team anymore. Maybe some players have been dropped out. I mean, could you tell us a bit more?
Well, what the manager and the players say, I couldn't answer because I don't know. But you can tell when a new manager comes in. When I see the new manager, I speak to him. I said, "How do you want it? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to do anything?" Is there a scenario how you want me to get there? What time do you want? Do you want the TVs on? Do you want the radio on? Or do you want nothing on? 9 times out of 10, I don't care. This Jack, the manager we got now, doesn't want the televisions on, which is good because since he's not had the television on, we haven't lost. So that's another good thing. But no, they get on the coach, say good morning, shake my hand, away we go. They don't really talk to me a lot. As long as I get them there safely and I get them on time, the manager's always happy.
Could you imagine your job being outside of England? If Watford got into Europa League or Conference League, would the job be the same?
I can't really answer that one because I've never driven abroad with a football team. I know a lot of the teams now that the drivers I know, if they go abroad, the coaches don't go. They rely on a coach when they get out there. The big boys, the big teams like Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, even probably Newcastle now, their team coach will go with them because they want their coach out there. I would imagine Watford, if they got into Europe, would they take the coach out there? I'd like to think so, because I'd love to do it. But I can't see it. I'd imagine they'd hire a coach out there.
You're quite well known now around Watford and the country, and maybe even the world. If you had the opportunity to go out there, you might be able to see it. But fan encounters, do they often happen? Are you often stopped?
Yeah. Quite a lot. The most I've been stopped, Brighton. I've got a lot of attention at Brighton. Sunderland's another one. You get stopped a lot. It's probably dwindling down now. I was in Menorca in the summer and got asked a photograph by people out in Menorca, so they knew me, i.e. from the YouTube channels. But yeah, you can all Sunderland Middles, but a lot of the northern teams, they know who you are, and they come up and ask, "Can I have a picture? Or can you sign my autograph?" And I have regular people come up and ask for photographs quite a lot. It makes you feel like, oh, I won't be able to fit through the door in a minute because my head gets so big. Like, but yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. It's a shame he's gone, really, because I think I could have. It's really good. Yeah, you feel like you get a buzz. People know they wave to you. When you're going up the motorway, they toot their hoot and wave, and yeah, it's good. It's good.
Do you think that anyone else could do a job that Ben Foster did in terms of the media and the YouTube?
They probably could do it if they do it as good as him. No, I don't think so. I think he's a one-off. He's good. He's cycling GK that hit the ground. I think he's doing a golf one now, which is taking off as well. So, and he's got the Fozcast, which he puts a lot of people on. So he's really doing well at it. I don't think there could be any other footballer who could do it. No, I don't.
That lockdown season was so interesting because it brought us into the club, like I said. And when he moved to Wrexham, it was a bit different because it's not as much of a well-known team in terms of a football status. It is now. It's coming up. However, with Watford, there was a lot that we didn't know before that we ended up learning. And the GoPro in the goal was one of a kind. And as I said, the fans got in love with Ben Foster and he started to become a fan favourite. Did that change over time? Was he always a fan favourite?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was. It brought with the camera, and it not just it went into the goal. He took it in the hotel. He took it in the training ground. He took it in the dressing rooms. Because it was a one-off. No one's done it before, and it was. I don't think it was just Watford fans that like watching it. I think football fans in general loved what he did, and I think that can someone else do it? Probably can, but probably not as good as what Ben does it.
The hotels then that you drive these players to, are they the Ritz or are they more the lower end of the spectrum?
They're not the lower end of the spectrum. No, like we home games when we was in the Premiership, we stayed at the Grove or Sotwell House. I don't know if the people know where they are, but they're top hotels. and we don't sort of stay in travel lodge or the Holiday Inn Express. It's sort of all 4 or 5 star hotels the players stay in. They're not. They're lovely, lovely hotels, all private hotels.
Watford are doing quite well, but they did go on a spree of drawing a few games 0-0, and there was like 1-0 losses, and it was getting a bit frustrating from my eyes because
Yeah.
they have such a great team. But with managers, they often get rid of their players as well. We saw with Ismail Assar, Troy Deeney obviously ending up at Forest Green Rovers. And I think it was
Yeah.
only Ken Simmer that stayed in the last 10 or so years. I think everyone else has gone. I think it was the last 10 years. Do you feel like every year there's going to be more players leaving and more players coming into the club? And if so, do you say goodbye to the players?
If you see him, Ken. I think Ken's been there. I don't think he's been there that 6 or 7 seasons. I think Ken Senna's been there. If you see him, who's the one? Cavaselli, when he went, he came up to me and said, I'm off. Nice to meet you and give me a hug and all that. Will Trusty-Kong was another one. He came up and said he was off. And in some of them, you don't see, like João Pedro. I didn't see him go. Ismail Assar, never saw him go. They'd gone the time they went pre-season, so I wouldn't have seen them. But a lot of them, they come up and speak to you and say like they're off. Thanks for doing what you did. And yeah, because they appreciate it, and I appreciate it because you're part of them. You're not just you're just a driver. You don't mean nothing to them. I'm one of them. That's how I see it. They might see it different, but they're as good as gold. They always come up and when they was going, see ya, bye. It was nice meeting you, but they're off. But some of them you didn't, because a lot of it is done pre-season or when's the transfer window starts that month. They may be there one game and the next game gone. So it's like Craig Cathcart when last season, didn't see the going of him. He was there at the end of the season. See you next season. Yeah, gone. I know it's the other one, Tom Cleverley. He's still at the club. I think he's with the youth team or the under-23s. So you often see him about, but not that often like I used to.
When this season comes to an end, what do you fill your time with? Is it the full-time job that you do? Can you just sit back and relax?
No. Normally, I go on holiday, and then I do whatever. I work for a coach company. I don't exactly work for Watford, so I will do whatever the coach company wants to do. It could be I could go across the water. I could be doing London sightseeing, down to the seaside to take school children. Could be anything really. Until the football season starts again, and then basically all I do is Watford Football Club, first team, home and away, and the 23s away games. Now we're doing Watford ladies, so I've got 5 more games for them to go.
How good is it to see the ladies' side of the game grow? So it's now a whole new round that you can discover.
It's coming on leaps and bounds now, ladies football, and it's not just they're playing in some big stadiums with some big crowds. I don't know what crowd Watford ladies get, but you can see like you'll do. Let's say Brighton or Arsenal or Chelsea, they're bringing crowds of 10, 15,000. And you've got, when they had the cup final at Wembley, I think there were 65,000 people watching a ladies' football game, which I think is great. It just brings girls into football as well as boys into football.
What division do you prefer doing? And obviously, it might be the Premier League, or it might be the Championship, or it might be another division. Do you like to see these big grand stadiums, or do you like to see the teams that you haven't seen before?
The Premiership is easy. That's because it's not so many games. I think it's 35 games, 36 games, and it's sort of either it's mainly Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday. With the Championship, it's sometimes it can get two games a week. If you're doing well in the cup games, it can be Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday on a Sunday. That can be full on. It's like you could be Sunderland on the Wednesday, Swansea on the Saturday, and then the following week you could be, or next Wednesday you could be at home, and then you're a Hull. So you're continuously on the go in the Championship. I imagine it's the same. The lower you go down, the more games they play. I think in the Championship it's got to be 44 games. I think. Not that doesn't include cup games or friendlies. Like if it's like the international break, if a team has a friendly, I still go to take them to these friendly games. And then pre-season, you've got games. You have 4 or 5 games before the season starts. So, time the season starts, I've already done 10 or 15 games. You know, and you've got the Carabao Cup. That's early. The FA Cup, I think, starts for the Championship and the Premiership. I think it's the first week in January. So, January over Christmas, it can be full on.
If we're going to look at teams like Sunderland and Hull, the teams that used to be in the Premier League glory and have now come down a few notches and they're now in the Championship, do you prefer the big stadiums like that? Because Sunderland, to me, when I look at it, looks very similar to St James's Park, apart from the big stand. It looks very similar. For example, St Mary's looks similar to Leicester City Stadium. Yeah. Do you like the big old Premier League stadiums, or do you like the smaller stadiums like Watford?
I prefer the smaller ones, personally. It's got more atmosphere, more local, more fans, like Watford fans, or we can say Luton fans. Local fans that all want to come and watch the game. You could go to Old Trafford. You could have 20,000 foreign teams have come over from Spain. Well, I don't think you get a lot of that at lower level. So I think the lower level teams, grounds, are more good to go to. More atmosphere at these grounds than the big ones.
Earlier on, you mentioned that the players bring you into the team, whether it would be playing pool or video games and things like that, and you can overlook what they're doing or even take part in it. The younger players like Ryan Andrews and these academy players that are coming through, do you feel like there's more of an enhanced communication between you and them and even themselves?
You take like you've got Ryan Andrews, as you said, but always very polite, always comes up and speaks to you. How are you? Okay. James Morris is the same. He's another one that's come through from the academy. And the goalkeeper, is it Miles? Can't think of the second name. Yeah. All lovely kids. Not big-headed. Oh, I'm a first-team player. No. Down to earth. Lovely kids. Lovely kids. Not big-headed or nothing.
Do you feel like, maybe not at Watford itself, but in football as a whole, do you feel there is a lot of big-headed players?
There's bound to be. All I can only describe being at Watford or the teams I've done, and I'm in the teams I've done, especially Watford. No, there's no one there big-headed. All right, you can have a laugh and a joke. They can get a bit rowdy, but not one of them. Not one of them's been big-headed. Because I don't think the captain, i.e. Troy, we'll say, I don't think Troy would have had it. They won't have them step out of line. So no, I've not seen any player that team I've done has been big-headed.
Has there always been a very good chemistry bond between the team?
Yeah, it is good. They're very close to themselves, not probably so much to me, even though they bring me into the circle. But amongst themselves, they've got their own bond. They've got their own groups. You've got them players will sit on that table for dinner, then you've got that lot will sit on that table together. But when they're out as a group, they're all good together. No animosity or anything. Well, at Watford, there isn't anyway.
Is there any games this season that you're looking forward to doing, home or away?
Any games I like looking forward to going?
Whether it be Leicester City in a few weeks?
Leicester would be good. I like going to Leicester. I like going to all of them. You can get some that can be a bit daunting. Millwall, for instance, even though I was a Millwall follower years ago, that can be daunting. Still trying to get into there when you get the the abuse you get as you pull into you do get some abuse, you do get it, and that can be intimidating. But I've been to a lot of them, and it's just you just ignore it. You just got to ignore it. You can't get involved and say they start giving you abuse. You can't fire it back. It just doesn't work. Otherwise, it's going to make it worse for the team. So you just got to be professional in that one.
When you were in the Premiership, did you feel there was a different vibe when Norwich versus Watford, that I went to a few years ago, when Norwich came to Vicarage Road? Is there a different buzz around the stadium when they're in the Premiership compared to when they're in the Championship?
Oh, of course, yeah, there will be, because you're a Premiership club. You'll get more people in, more people will follow. It was always, I can't think what the capacity of Vicarage Road is. I think it's about 24,000, and it's full. And there is a big vibe as you drive into Vicarage Road. It's absolutely buzzing. You can feel the atmosphere as we're driving in. You can feel the atmosphere from the guys selling the programs to the people sitting in the pub opposite. You can say, also, as you pull in, they're all out. They're all out cheering and clapping and shouting, and the atmosphere is really, really good. Premier. When we played Norwich, or even we played Man United or Liverpool or Tottenham, it's in the Premiership. You get the vibes there. The atmosphere is electric. Yeah, it's good.
When you have the youth players come into the team, whether it be for one game because there's been a few injuries or they're in there permanently, do you have to go over and welcome them, or do you just sit back and relax and they come over to you?
With the ones at Watford, you've seen them because you've been with them. Because I do the 21s as well, so I've known them anyway. Yeah, they just come over and introduce themselves, hello, and shake your hand, and that. But a lot of them, like you see Ryan or James or Miles, I've known them for 2 or 3 seasons because they've come up through. I've seen them with the youth team, so it's just like they're another player. The further you go down, it's funny. The further you go down in the age group, the bigger headed they get. If you understand what I mean, they think, "Oh, I'm a footballer now. I can." But once you get up 18s, 21s, first team, no, none of them are big headed. Not one of them. I think a lot of them are proud. A lot of them are proud to play first team. James, Ryan's been playing quite well. And Miles, I think they're proud to put that shirt on.
But why are they so proud? Because it's their local team?
I'm not sure about there being their local team. I don't know where Ryan came from or if he was at another club. I think James Morris, wasn't he at Southampton? Did he come through at Southampton and was signed for Watford from Southampton? Miles, I don't know where he was previously. And Ryan the same. I don't know whether they've come off their local or they've come through the youth setup. I'm not sure. But they're all good lads. All good lads.
You spoke a moment ago about the atmosphere before the game, and I always get a bit confused as to when the players actually arrive. Is it about an hour and a half before?
Yeah. If it's a Saturday game, yeah, it's normally about 1:30, 20 past 1, 20 to 2, the latest. It won't be later than 20 to 2 because we're getting it in the neck if I get there at 20 to 2. So it's roughly anything from 20 past 1 to 1:30. We want to be there off the coach at 1:30.
And do you personally, do you feel the buzz around the stadium? Because you spoke about the players feeling it and maybe they're looking out the window to see what's going on. But obviously you have got to concentrate on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I get a buzz out of doing it. I really, really do. You get the proud. You're so proud to drive those players in, and you can see all the crowd around you cheering, and it is really good. I know you've got to concentrate on what you're doing, especially at Vicarage Road when you've now got to come in across the road and reverse back down. You've got all those people round by the club shop. And they've got that program store that's right on as you come round. You've got to miss that. So when you're concentrating, reversing down, you don't see them. Some of them you see, some of them they wave to you, and some of them shouting your name out, but you've got to watch in front of you, beside you, and behind you. So reversing down, you don't really take a lot of notice of them. There's a few you see, but majority of them, you're more concentrating and then getting that coach down that road.
When you hear the word Watford FC, what words come to your head?
What comes to my head with Watford FC? New manager. Elton John, we'll say. I've never met the guy, but everyone said when you go to these games, oh, is Elton John still chairman, or is Elton John still anything to do with the club? I don't know. I know he often goes there. If he's got anything to do with it, I don't think he has, but I'm not 100% sure. But you've got, it's you go in there and Watford, watch his classes, Watford. I've been doing it a long time now, so yeah, it's probably getting rid of all the managers, because that's what everyone seems to talk about. Probably not so much in the last year or so, but before, in 3 or 4 seasons, I think we must have gone through three managers a season. I think we went through 3 managers last season. I think this guy we've got at the moment is going to stay. I don't think he will go. I think he's doing a very, very good job, and his staff doing a very, very good job. I hope we keep him, and I hope he can get us promoted. It's going to be a tough one. There's no reason why we can't. I think everyone's capable of beating everybody down there now. And Watford, why not Watford? Why not Watford do what Luton did last year? Why can't we get back to the Premiership? I think
Do you think you're better than Luton?
Sorry?
Do you think you're better than Luton in a squad?
This season, yes, I do. I think we've got a more together squad this year that wants to achieve. I know it's tough. It's very tough in the Premiership. As you can see, the teams that came up last year, I think the teams are at the bottom. So it's tough. You've got to be able to spend money. And some of these big clubs, they can spend the money. The teams either further down or even in the Championship probably haven't got the budget to survive in the Premier League. Well, look, Southampton came down, Leeds, Leicester. I think they've still got up some of their core players when they was in the Premier League. If they don't go up this year, will you lose some of those players? Will they struggle? Who knows? Southampton came down before, didn't they? It took them 3 or 4 seasons to get back up. Sunderland was struggling a couple of seasons ago. And they're back up in the Championship. So why can't Watford do what Luton done last year?
There has been some memorable moments watching Watford, and the Liverpool one sticks out to me. I remember the commentator going crazy when Troy Deeney scored the goal, and then Ismaila Sarr tripping over Alisson Becker. When you do it from your personal experience, when you're with the players in the team, has there been a moment of madness or just pure excitement?
The best excitement I've seen, or it's got to be the game I'm going to say is the Wolves game in the semi-final of the FA Cup when Habib was the manager. When I got invited into the dressing room afterwards, and that was chaos, absolute chaos. I've never seen excitement in my life in doing football. Was that afternoon at Wolves? What was we 2-0 down against Wolves, and to come back and win 3-2 with Jerry, those 2 goals that Delafeo scored, and the penalty that Troy put it away to make it go into extra time. That is the most exciting game I've ever been to, and I've been to some games, but that one is tops. That one there. I had bruises on the sides of my legs, but I was sitting next to, I can't think of his name now. He's not there now, but he kept going, we're going to win, kept punching on the side of the legs, like bruises all up the sides of my legs. His name will come to me, and I can't think of his name, but yeah, that was got to be the most exciting game. To see the players excited at the end of it after coming back from that, it was amazing, absolutely amazing, especially done at Wembley as well.
We all know the rivalry between Watford and Luton, and it gets a bit chaotic at sometimes. And Rob
Yeah.
Edwards, when he went from Forest Green Rovers to Watford and now into the Premier League with Luton, that's
Mhm.
quite a big step up from a personal point of view. But
Yeah.
when Rob went from Watford to Luton, what was that like? What were the players' reaction?
Um, I don't really know actually. I don't think there was not a lot of he's gone there, he should never have gone there. I think a lot of them were pleased for him, really. Um, Me personally, I don't think he should have gone, but I'm only a coach driver, and I'm not. I don't run run the football club. That's to the owners and the board. That's their job. I thought he could have done a job for us. Could he have got us in the Premiership? I don't know. The way he started football, he got Luton into the Premiership. So there was also a reason why. There's no reason why he couldn't have got Watford into the Premiership.
If I was in your position, I wouldn't. I mean, I would like to, but it wouldn't be the priority to go to Watford, not to Watford, sorry, to Liverpool and Chelsea and teams like that. I would like to go to the Watfords and the Huddersfields and the teams that are so close to their fans. And you agreed with me on that. However, do you often think to yourself, you could do the job elsewhere, or are you staying at Watford? Because if you had the chance to do it with Liverpool, would you do it?
No. I would definitely start Watford. I've got 5 years. The contract runs for 5 years. We're now into our second year of five. No, I wouldn't want to do Manchester United. I wouldn't want to do Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham. No, I'm Watford. I've now done since 2015. It's 8 years. I think 9 seasons or 10 seasons I've been there. No, I don't want to go anywhere else. I love it there. The players are great. The staff are great. The atmosphere is good. The fans are good. Um, you're just a coach driver. You go to these big clubs, and I've spoken to the drivers at Liverpool or Manchester United or Manchester City, and they don't seem to be close. They seem to be they sit off of them like they're not involved. I mean, the guy at Liverpool probably is. He's okay. I can't think of his name at the moment, but he's a nice lad. I think he's more, but the others, no, I'm quite happy what I'm doing. Quite
The
happy.
coaches that you've mentioned, the kit men, the physios, the people that
Yeah,
run the club, aside from the manager and the assistant manager, when the
yeah.
managers leave, is there new ones that come in, or have they remained over time?
Sorry, if the managers leave, does
If the managers leave, do the backroom staff leave, like the physios, the kit men, or do they
no?
remain?
I think the physios and the kit man work for the club. I think the manager brings his own staff in, and I think if the manager goes, I think he takes his staff with him. But the physios, the club doctor and the kit man, they're all employed by Watford, so they will stay. They'll be there when the next manager comes in, and the next manager after that will come in. They will stay. Like Matt, who's the kit man at Watford now. If this manager goes, Matt won't go. Matt will stay where he is. I hope he will anyway.
We've seen it across the years in South America when they come to Europe. So we've seen it with Firmino and players like that. But we've also seen it at Watford with Hernandez, with João Pedro. Do you like the South American players in the way that they play, the skill that they have and the flair that they have? Or do you like the more basic English style of football?
Me personally, I like the English style of football. But with Watford, it's a mix. It's a mix. You get a few Italians, you've got a few South Americans in there now, like Asprilla, very, very good player. Could do with being a bit bigger, um, but he's a good player. As far as Martin's another good player, and you've got the youth and the experience at Watford now, which is good. We've got Jake Livermore, who's a senior, but you've got Tom Ince, another senior player that can encourage these youngsters to really to bond into a very, very good, strong squad. A very good, strong. If they don't qualify or get to the promotion this year, then definitely will go get into the playoffs the following year if you can keep the same squad. they've got a very, very strong, very good, strong squad this season. This has
Are
got
Watford, are
sorry.
Watford in the best place that they have been in the last few years? So when Delafeu got you in against Wolverhampton Wanderers with Troy Deeney, was that team stronger than what it is now?
I think the team back 3 or 4 seasons ago was probably stronger, but you had a lot more senior players then. You've got a lot of youngsters in the squad now that you need a bit of youth and you need a bit of experienced senior players to get it together. You've got Dan Backman, senior player. As I said, Jake Livermore, Tom Ince, all senior players in there. That's what I think what you need. We need a leader, and I think the leader you got there now is Jake. I think he binds everyone together. And at the moment, I think what's Watford gone now? Is it 6 games haven't been beat? All right, there's been a few draws in there. The last game was it 5-0 against Rotherham. It's there. It's getting it together, and I think they will. I honestly think they've got a chance to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be tough to go automatically this year, but hey, next season, I think could be sky's the limit. I think Watford could get back up into the Premiership next season.
Someone like Jake Livermore, who's gone around these teams, West Bromwich Albion, he came from before he went to Watford. Do you see something different in him than what you see in the rest of the players? And if so, what?
Yeah, his leadership. He's came in. I don't think he started at the beginning of the season, but he's been coming into it. And I think it's his leadership. You need a strong leadership player around the players in the dressing room, in the training ground to get them together. It's not just Jake. You've got Dan Backman, another one, strong player. Francesco Siriata, another strong player, another senior player that can get them together.
You're now travelling Norwich are travelling down to Vicarage Road, and then you take the long trip up to Leicester City, which I tried to get tickets for, but the coach is sold out, so I couldn't quite go up there. Hopefully next time, though. However, these are 2 big teams. We know what Norwich did and what Leicester have done in the past, and they've both been Premier League in the last 3 years. They're going to be big challenges. But for a team like Watford, who have now gone about 6 games unbeaten, do you think you stand a chance?
I think we can win at Leicester. It's going to be tight. It's going to be close. It's only going to be 1 goal in it, 2-1, maybe 1-0, 2-1. I think we're now going on. They're going to go on a run. I know it's going to be tough. I think we've got some really tough games coming up in November, December. Norwich, I think we can beat Norwich at home in a couple of weeks' time. Then I think we go to Southampton, or does Southampton come to Vicarage Road?
I think they come to Vicarage Road.
Yeah, we can beat them. You've got to win. If you can win your home games, you're going to be halfway there. And I think we're going to go. People are going to look over their shoulder and look at Watford now and think, oh, this is not going to be an easy walkover game. Like probably beginning of the season or the back end of last season, where we didn't really finish as well as we should have done. They're not as strong. But I think you've got the players now that want to win. They want to go out. They don't want to get beaten. So I think we're going to go on a run now up to Christmas. So we could be pushing for the playoffs. Come the beginning of the new year, I think we'll probably be 7th or 8th. I think we'll be in the top 10, 7th or 8th, and I think we can push. Because I've been
really disappointed with Leeds this season. I thought they would have made quite a remark alongside Southampton and Leicester City. I thought all of those teams were much better than the rest. When you look at the table and how it's gone this season, it's gone a lot differently with a team like Ipswich. I mean, how surprised are you with Ipswich?
Fired up, I'd imagine. I don't. Have they been beaten this year? If it is, it's only once or twice. I know they come to us before Christmas, and that's going to be a very interesting game because I think we play Leicester, Norwich. I know Norwich are not probably up as far as that, but Ipswich definitely, Leicester, Southampton. Hull, I think Hull's going to be a tough game away in a couple of weeks' time. That will be very, very tough. We always don't seem to do well up there. They're all beatable. I think all the teams in the division are all beatable. People beating each other. It's just going there with some confidence, and I think Watford now are on confidence so high at the moment. So why not? Why not? Why can't we beat these teams?
And lastly, from me, where do you think Watford are going to finish this season?
Hopefully in the playoffs. If not, they're just going to miss out by a point or 2 points. I think they can make the playoffs. I think by fifth or sixth. I think Watford will finish.
That wraps up everything from me today, Baz. I really, really appreciate you joining me.
You're very welcome.